Hey, it's Erin. Let's talk about booty building. One of my favorite exercises for developing great glutes is the glute bridge. The glute bridge can be confused with the hip thrust, although they're not the same exercise. With the glute bridge, you're performing the exercise with your back flat on the ground. With the hip thrust, you have your upper back on a bench. Now, with the hip thrust, you do have a greater range of motion, but you also have more quad recruitment. With the glute bridge, it is a shorter range of motion, but you're hitting entirely the glutes. So in this tutorial today, we're gonna go through some cues that you can use along with proper setup, both of which are gonna help improve mind-muscle connection, which means you're gonna get the most out of every single rep, which means that you're gonna make progress faster. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and don't forget to like this video. With the setup, you can see that I have a 45-pound barbell. I have a 45-pound plate on either side. Using a 45-pound plate allows me to roll the bar up and onto my hip bones. If you're using a barbell, I highly recommend that you use a bar pad or a squat pad, something to protect your hips and to protect your body from the heavy weights. Getting into position for the glute bridge, I'm going to extend my legs out in front of me and I'm gonna sit flat on the floor. I'll pull the barbell up to my hip bones, lay flat on the ground, and I think about pulling my heels up very close to my glutes. Now, a good rule of thumb here is when you're in the top of the bridge, your lower legs should be perpendicular to the ground. If you feel this exercise in your hamstrings at all, your feet are too far out and you should bring them closer to you. Now, as far as feet placement and weight distribution, think about placing your feet about shoulder width apart and consciously push your weight through your heels. If you need to lift your toes off the ground, that's perfectly fine. You want to make sure your weight's through the heels. Another really helpful cue is to think about pushing your feet away from your body. Now, in pushing your feet away from your body, you're gonna get greater glute recruitment. Before you start your first rep, your back is going to be, of course, on the floor, but I want you to use the floor as a guide. So consciously press your lower back into the floor and tilt your pelvis upwards and forward just slightly. Now, when you do this, I also want you to think about head position. Think about tucking your chin. If you tuck your chin, you're gonna keep everything nice and tight. You wanna keep your core tight and you wanna keep your chin tucked just a little bit. This is gonna help keep everything in that flat position. There's a tendency, especially as you get tired, to sort of look up or to lose that tension under your chin. And when you do that, your body typically will follow the direction of your head. So if you're looking up, there's a tendency for that back to arch, which can cause issues in the exercise. Now, again, the bar is gonna be sitting right across your hip bones, maybe a bit lower. In order to keep the bar exactly where it needs to be, you'll need to brace against the bar. So you'll extend your arms outward. We're looking at probably 1.5 to 2 times shoulder width. Here's a time where you do want to lock your arms. So you're gonna lock your arms, you're gonna keep your wrists nice and straight, you're gonna wrap your thumbs around the bar and just keep everything braced and flat. And when you go up into the bridge, you're bracing against the bar. So you're not lifting the weight at all with your upper body, you're simply stabilizing. At the top of the rep, I want you to really tuck that chin and think about squeezing your glutes. As you lower the weight, keep your back nice and flat and lower the weight slowly. Let the weight touch just a little bit and explode back up. And there you have it, the glute bridge. I highly recommend that you start this exercise with body weight only. What this is going to do is it's going to help with glute activation. It's also going to help you run through all of these cues, really get them down pat, and really allow you to apply them. So perfect the exercise and get it right using just body weight and then add weight from there. Of course, if you don't have a barbell, you can use a dumbbell, a plate, anything with weights. If you're just using body weight, that's okay. You'll have to do more reps. Think about doing more isometric holds. So once you get to the top part of that rep, really squeeze. You can also think about doing partial reps. That will increase the difficulty of each set without having to go up in weights. If there are other tutorials that you'd like to see, please leave them in the comments below and we'll make it happen. Thank you for watching. Until next time, train smart and train hard, y'all.